Hello, this is SOLIDWORKS 101. We're going to go over creating a simple part. So we've opened up SOLIDWORKS. We'll use the pull downs here. Go to File, New. We're going to do a part. So we have a drawing, assembly, and a part. So we'll select part, say OK. We'll want to draw this part in millimeters. So keep that in mind. A few things to explain here is we have our graphic display screen here. We have our coordinate system, X, Y, and Z. Some people call this a trawl. They're calling it a trimetric. We have tabs here that represent features. We have extrude, revolve, a bunch of others that are grayed out. We have sketch tab, and we can go into sketch mode. We can add dimensions to our sketch entities, and these are our sketch entities. We have a point, a line, a rectangle, circle, arc, a slot, and text. Those are some of the more common ones you use, and there's also a fillet and chamfer command. Okay, so we'll stay in sketch mode. Let's go into millimeters. So first thing we'll do, go to Tools. You may need to scroll down here using this arrow, but we're going to select on Options. We're going to select this tab here. It says Document Properties. Go to Units and select on millimeters. OK. Now we've set it up to do millimeters. We want to do a sketch, so the first thing we need to do is select a plane that's along this X and Y coordinate. That'll be our front plane. We have a right, a top, and a front. We'll select our front plane, and now we'll select sketch. And as you see, it rotated the orientation of that front plane to be where X is along this direction of the screen and Y is in this direction of the screen. Now I'm going to draw a simple part. I'm going to use the rectangle command. Let's back up a little bit. We have the origin here. I'm going to constrain the rectangle to this origin on this plane. And the origin is also located here. You see that it turns yellow in the graphics and it highlights when you move your cursor over it in the outline thing over here. Okay, so I'll go to rectangle. I'm going to select this origin, and I'm going to stretch the rectangle out to about, it kind of gives you an approximation of what your dimensions are here. Don't have to get exact because we're going to put in our exact dimensions here in a bit. Now, when I did this rectangle, it selected it from corner to corner. You have the option of doing from a center of a rectangle to a corner and several other possibilities. This is one of the more common rectangle types, as well as possibly this one. So there's our rectangle. Now I want to do a cutout in this corner, so I'll go to Line Entity, and I'm going to snap the line to the other line. I'm going to make it vertical, and I'm going to stop about right there. And then I'm going to release the mouse button. Now I'm going to click again, drag, and release. Okay, so there's my cutout. I'm going to use this trim feature to remove these parts of the lines. So I'll go to trim. I want to use the trim to closest. So it's going to automatically guess that I want to trim it up to this line here. So there it trims it. I'm going to touch here. It's going to trim this part of this line based on this entity's intersection point. So use the scissors and cut there. So there's that. Now, we're not done because our sketch, as you can see down here, says under define. If you were to give this to somebody, they would say, I don't know how to make this part. I know kind of the approximate shape of it, but you haven't given me any dimensions to actually cut material to make this part. So I'm going to give it some dimensions. This icon here, Smart Dimensions, will allow you to click on the part and give it an overall height. And you can change it. Let's say you don't want 90.336 millimeters, you want 100 millimeters. Voila. it is now 100 millimeters, and it has scaled the whole part relative to that. Now, you'll see that the next step I'll take is to go from this edge to this edge in dimension, and I'll make this 150, and you'll see the part move when you do this. See, it's made it 150. This one went 100. It scaled the whole part, but you didn't see that because it did it dynamically, so your eye didn't see the change. But on this one, when you change this line, it actually grew the part to match the dimension you put it in. This is called parametrics. Okay, so now we need to dimension this slot, or this notch right here. So we'll put a dimension here. I'm going to call this 50 millimeters. And I'm going to call this part of the slat, let's say 60 millimeters. Okay, now it is all black all the way around. All the dimensions are black, including that one. We have no overdefined dimensions. We have our horizontal lines marked as horizontal, vertical lines marked as vertical. And we have all our dimensions, and everything's constrained because it's got a point here where it's coincident to the origin. And you see down here it says fully defined. We have our little rebuild symbol. It's got a traffic light. We'll get into that later. Right now, we want to give this part some thickness. So we'll go to Features. We'll select Extrude. And then I'll rotate again and show you that you can stretch this part in this direction to whatever thickness you want. It defaulted to 10, and then we stretched it and made it 48. I want to make this an 8 millimeter part, so I'll enter 8 in this column, or this field, and hit enter. And I'll hit the green check mark up here. OK. And now it's made this part 8 millimeters thick. Now to move the camera around the part and look at like the backside and stuff, push in the center wheel mouse button on the mouse, and you'll get this icon. It looks like an orbiting planet, and you can rotate your camera all the way around the part. Now the part's not rotating. That's important when you get into assemblies. The part is actually staying relative to its virtual world, but you're moving the camera, and that changes your traw here. See how it moves the X and the Y and the Z? Okay, now let's say you were doing an assembly and you had to, so I just used the wheel mouse button again, but this time I rotated the wheel in and out to zoom in. Let's say you wanted to get in real close to this shape like you were doing an assembly, and you wanted to rotate around this part here, so you would wait till it turns to that point, click on the wheel mouse again, and that button will highlight and turn to this icon. Now when you rotate, it's going to rotate around that specific point in space, or orbit around it actually. And then we can also wheel mouse out again, and it's still rotating. Well, rotate around that point right there. You can also rotate around an edge. So there, I've rotated around the edge, the camera view. Alright. And we'll do File, Save As. And we'll give this part a name. I'm going to call it a gusset. And there you have it. Thank you for watching.